Well, we've been fighting the war on drugs in this country for decades, and as of last year, we are losing the battle. In 2023, a record 112,000 people died of a drug overdose, and fentanyl is responsible for a majority of them. Fentanyl is now a leading cause of death for 18 to 45-year-olds, and fashion experts worry it's going to get worse, along with the increased risk of illicit drug use.
You're right, Dominique. There is extreme concern across this country. You may remember Dr. Phil recently took his show, Dr. Phil Primetime, to the border. He showed the world how the majority of drugs, particularly fentanyl, is being smuggled into our country through the border. Joining us right now to talk about this fentanyl crisis more in depth and how he's raising awareness globally is the founder of Every 11 Minutes, Mr. Jeremy Kelsay. Jeremy, first of all, thank you for being here. Welcome to Morning on Merritt Street.
Thanks for having me. Grateful for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You and I met and have become friends after I found you on social media, which is how a lot of people are finding you and your movement.
Yes.
You are bringing this crisis home in a way that most people have never seen it. Talk to me about the name behind your movement, Every 11 Minutes, and why it's so important.
Yeah, so in 2021, when this movement started, I was fresh in recovery. I am a recovering fentanyl addict myself. I have survived many overdoses. The statistics at the time were every 11 minutes, someone dies from an opioid overdose. And here we are in 2024, and it has more than doubled. So it's every 5 minutes now.
Jeremy, you know, people who experience these near-death events tend to take them on as causes. Is that the reason why, because it personally affected you, or were you starting to see the effects in others and you're thinking, wait a second, this is my experience too, I've got a voice, I need to do something?
Absolutely. I mean, you recover loudly or you die quietly.
Right.
Am I right?
You're right.
R.I.P. Donald Harvey, Carlos Nareto, Ryan Hughes, Timon Nicholson. The list goes on and on and on of people that I was personally close to, and it almost took my life.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for people who don't know your mission, you are actually bringing stories of families. This is affecting every community, every socioeconomic level.
Yes.
And you are bringing them into our devices so we can see and hear, see the faces, hear the stories. Talk about how this has blown up so quickly.
Yeah, so when you see the statistics in the news or, you know, in the paper, you just see numbers. So there's real faces, real people behind those numbers. And these are mothers, these are fathers, these are sons, these are daughters, and everybody has a story to tell.
Yep.
So
You've got something on this table with you, and I'm curious as to what it is. And, you know, we've even reported, too, that just the tiniest amount of fentanyl, we're talking microscopic amounts, could mean the difference between life and death.
Is it 2 milligrams is considered a lethal dose?
yeah, it's absolutely lethal, and it's getting contaminated in all drugs.
Right.
So
It's in everything.
it's in everything. And, you know, bite my tongue, I get a lot of stories of fentanyl-laced marijuana.
Yeah.
And you know, scientists will tell you that's impossible, but the ember from the end of a joint can heat up and heat the vapors of fentanyl, which you can inhale.
Yeah.
So cocaine, it's in the molly, it's in everything. It's in meth, and more. It's fentanyl poisoning now. It's not overdose.
Yeah.
And so the device.
Yeah.
This is called the Massimo Bridge device. I work at a place called Alliant Recovery Centers, and we are bringing this to the center. And this is one of the newest harm reduction tools. And what it does is it affects and interrupts signals in the amygdala where fear originates and where withdrawals actually come from. So if you put this device on your ear, you can actually interrupt the withdrawal process. So in as little as 15 minutes, your withdrawals can go away. And mainly that's how we lose people at Alliant Recovery Centers is they'll walk out the door because the withdrawals are too much.
Right.
Right? And so we lose them AMA, against medical advice.
Right.
And with a couple days sober, their tolerance is down, and it's a good remedy for overdose.
Yeah.
But with this thing, this can interrupt it. And we can also introduce medically assisted treatments.
Some
such
therapeutics,
as,
right,
absolutely,
to help people get through it.
Yeah.
Well, and this represents hope for so many people because we've seen officers be poisoned by fentanyl just on routine traffic stops.
Absolutely.
There is an increase, it's a crisis right now of college students who think they're getting
it's an
pills
epidemic.
and they're dropping dead at college, at home. Mothers, fathers, like you said, so many, young as 13, 11, this is happening. I mean.
Well, as young as 1 year old.
Yeah.
In the Bay Area, RIP to Christopher Ferreira. You know, the kid put a pill in his mouth and spit it out, but that was just enough to kill a 1 year old. I got 2 year olds.
What is the purpose of putting fentanyl in all of this stuff? I mean, these drugs are harmful enough as it is. What is the intent here?
So fentanyl is dirt cheap, right? And it's got more power than anything.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 times more powerful than heroin. And it's very, very cheap. So I would imagine, you know, the powers that be see that people get hooked very easily and put it in everything.
Because they want to continue
the addiction.
The addiction.
The demand.
Yeah.
It's supply and demand.
Supply and
So
demand.
fentanyl is an internal American problem, which started with OxyContin in the early 90s and has made its way through the veins of America to now.
Yeah. It's being sourced, a lot of it's being sourced in China, then it's being delivered to Mexico where it's being manufactured and it's coming across our borders. We want to thank you for being brave and having the courage to expose this, to bring these stories home in a real way. We want to continue the conversation right now.
We do, and this is the part of the story where it gets really difficult because you almost lost your life.
Yes.
You didn't, but there are people who have. And joining us is Eric Kittendorf, who lost his daughter, Alyssa.
That's my guy.
You know, first of all, we need to offer our deepest sympathies for your loss. It is unimaginable, and we are extremely grateful for your bravery in discussing this with us today. Extremely grateful. Thank you, Eric.
Love you, brother.
Thank you.
Okay.
Love you too, bro.
Your daughter, Alyssa's death was an accident. She bought a pill. She thought it was Percocet. Walk us through this journey.
Yeah, my daughter was only 17 years old when she unknowingly purchased fentanyl from an adult drug dealer who knowingly and deceptively sold her a counterfeit pill, which he admitted in federal court that he knew would take her life.
Eric, is there anything that you would like us to know or understand about the people who've lost their lives, about the families who are losing loved ones because of these drugs?
What? I don't understand the question.
Is there anything you'd like the viewers, all of us, to understand about the people who've lost their lives, about the use of these drugs, how easily this can happen?
All these kids that are dying are they're being deceived to death. They are experimenting and losing their life because of it. Most of them are good kids.
Yes.
You know, my daughter was a straight A student, honor roll. She loved school. She wouldn't want to miss a day of school. She was creative. She had a great heart, and to all the kids out there, you can't play with these drugs anymore. They're all being laced with fentanyl, all of it.
Yeah.
They are there to poison you.
You're right, Eric, and it's a heartbreak, and I'm so glad you brought up the fact that these are good kids. These are your children. I mean, my son is 19 years old, and I hear him tell stories about kids that he knows who have been hospitalized or died because fentanyl was in something that they just randomly decided to take. So we as parents have got to have open conversations with our children, with our families, to realize that this is real. This is a real problem. And I am so sorry that you had to experience such an enormous loss and sadness, just unexplainable. But here you are and you're advocating for others. What message do you want to give other people to really drive this home, that this is no joke?
don't play with these drugs. If you're having a hard time, if you're struggling, find somebody to talk to, reach out to. They say the cure for addiction is connection. So I would connect with other people that are going through the same troubles as you, and avoid resorting to drug use. Abstain.
Yes, abstain and find other ways, press into other areas of support. Eric Kittendorf, again, we express our gratitude. We express our deepest sympathies for your loss. Thank you for being with us here on Morning on Merritt Street. We appreciate you so much.
Continued prayers for you and your family, Eric. We
Love you, man.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Morning on Merritt Street. We'll be right back.